Fried rice. It is the quintessential leftover recipe in my book. I mean, one of its main ingredients is leftover rice. You can't make it with fresh rice. So today I wanted to show you a very basic fried rice recipe that only requires 5 ingredients. And once you master this, you can create any kind of variation on that based on what you have left over. Okay, so let's cover the 5 basic ingredients you'll need. First, you need onions. Yellow onions, red onions, scallions, shallots, anything in the onion family. Next, you need ginger or garlic, something to flavor the oil with. You need some eggs. You need some leftover rice. Keep it in the fridge to kind of draw the moisture. The drier it is, the easier it is to work with. And lastly, you need some soy sauce. Of course, this doesn't include oil and salt, which you'll definitely need as well. Okay, start with a searing pan. Make sure it's very hot and add some oil, some salt, and some onions. Then you want to add some garlic and ginger if you have some. Be sure to mix them around, make sure it doesn't burn. As soon as it hits that pan, it's going to start cooking, so you don't want it to burn. Now add a little bit more oil if you need it, and then add 2 eggs. Make sure you push the other ingredients off to the side so that you can scramble these eggs and they don't get mixed in with everything else. You want the eggs to have their own, to be doing their own thing. Now I added a little bit more salt into the eggs. And then once the eggs cooked, incorporate the rest of the ingredients into the eggs. Now I add the leftover rice here, and the reason we need leftover rice is that fresh rice is too wet. Leftover rice, you can kind of separate them into their individual grains, and each grain will get covered in flavor, and that's what you want. You don't want it to be one wet clump. And here we add the soy sauce and whatever other sauces you want to add, but since we're doing a very basic recipe, we're just going to stick with soy sauce, and that's it. You just serve it and it looks great. So that's it. It's a very general formula for a fried rice. 5 ingredients. Basically, you get all 5 of those things in there at the right times, and you're gonna have yourself a very good fried rice. Obviously, this is so basic that it's not very sexy of a recipe, but the point is that it's not a recipe, it's a formula for coming up with fried rice. As long as you have those 5 ingredients or variations thereof, like if you don't have onions, maybe you have scallions. So as long as you have anything that will kind of stand in for each of those categories, each of those 5 categories. For the leftover rice, you can substitute any kind of cooked grain. I've done a fried rice with leftover farro. You can do it with leftover rice noodles instead of rice. And once you have that formula mastered, you can step up your game with additional leftovers, whatever you happen to have in the fridge. And that's what I'm going to cover in my next video. So subscribe and hit that bell so that you will get notifications and you won't miss that video. Asian level shoveling. Not very attractive, but probably wouldn't do that on a first date. Really gets it in there. Makes it taste more delicious too. Also talking while you're eating. Very attractive.